Has someone ever said something slightly disrespectful to you, wrapped up in a warm smile? Maybe you were in a group of friends, and they threw a subtle jab at your career, your relationship, or your appearance. And when the room went quiet, and you didn't laugh, they immediately put their hands up and said, "Relax, I'm just joking." You brushed it off. You forced a smile. You let the conversation move on. But long after you went home, something in your gut was still twisting. Your instinct was trying to tell you something that your logical brain didn't want to accept. It wasn't just a joke. We all deal with this. You probably have a friend who is always, without fail, 20 minutes late to everything you plan. Or a coworker who asks for a super quick favor right as you're packing up to leave for the day. Or someone who consistently interrupts you right when you get to the most important part of your story. When these things happen, we make excuses for people. We tell ourselves they're just disorganized, or socially awkward, or maybe they're just having a really stressful week. We do this because the alternative is uncomfortable. We do this to avoid conflict, but that's a lie we tell ourselves to keep the peace. The uncomfortable truth is this: people aren't just bumping into your boundaries by accident. They are throwing stones at your walls to see exactly what they're made of. They are gathering data. Human beings are highly adaptive social creatures, and part of our survival programming involves constantly, silently mapping out the social hierarchy in any room we walk into. Without even consciously realizing they're doing it, people run micro-tests on you. They want to know where your limits are. They want to know how much you value yourself. And ultimately, they want to see how much they can get away with. It's not always malicious. Often, it's purely instinctual. But whether it's conscious or not, the way you respond to these tests dictates exactly how that person will treat you for the rest of your life. Let's break down exactly how people are testing you, right now, without you even noticing. Number 1. The disguised insult, the humor test. It almost always starts with a joke. Humor is the ultimate Trojan horse for disrespect, because it comes with built-in plausible deniability. If someone wants to test your self-respect, they won't walk up to you and insult you to your face. That's too risky. Instead, they will slide a subtle insult into a sarcastic comment or a teasing remark, usually when there's an audience. Why an audience? Because they are testing two things: your reaction and the group's perception of you. When they make that joke at your expense, they are watching your eyes. They are watching your body language. Do you shrink? Do you laugh nervously at your own expense? Do you look down? If you laugh along, or if you quietly accept the jab to avoid making things awkward, you just gave them a green light. You just signed an invisible contract that says your disrespect is affordable. You've shown them that you value their comfort over your own dignity. But here's the part most people miss. The test isn't just about whether or not they can insult you. It's about your recovery. The moment you let a disguised insult slide, you become the designated target for the next one. The boundary has been moved. 2. The manufactured delay, the time test. Time is the most accurate currency of respect. Think about the person who consistently leaves you on red for 2 days, only to text back with a completely new subject, acting like no time has passed. Or the friend who makes you wait at the coffee shop for half an hour, blaming traffic for the 5th time this month. Psychologically, waiting is a power dynamic. The person who waits is entirely at the mercy of the person who is making them wait. When someone is consistently late, or when they delay their responses to keep you guessing, they are running a time test. They are trying to find out how much of your life you are willing to waste on them. If you greet them with a warm smile and say, "No worries, it's totally fine," when they finally arrive, you fail the test. You have just communicated that their time is inherently more valuable than yours. You've told them that you will wait on the shelf until they are ready to take you down. And this is where it gets worse. Once a person knows you will wait for them, they will start making you wait for everything. For apologies, for clarity, for basic respect. 3rd, the favor creep, the compliance test. No one ever starts by asking you to carry their heaviest burden. They start by asking you to hold their jacket. This is known as the compliance test. It begins with a tiny, almost invisible request. A coworker asks you to cover the phones for 5 minutes while they grab a coffee. A friend asks to borrow a tiny amount of money they promise to pay right back. It seems so insignificant that saying no would make you look like a jerk. So, you say yes. But they aren't really testing your generosity. They are testing your inability to say no. They are looking for the friction point. Once you agree to the small favor, the requests slowly, subtly increase in size. 5 minutes becomes an hour. Covering the phones becomes doing their paperwork. They are mapping out your guilt. They want to see if you are driven by a need to please others. If you are, they will quietly extract your time, energy, and resources until you are entirely burned out. And the most dangerous part? When you finally snap and say no, they will act betrayed, making you feel like the bad guy for finally closing a door you never should have opened in the first place. Your compliance wasn't seen as kindness. It was cataloged as weakness. 4. Selective deafness, the presence test. Have you ever been talking in a group setting, telling a story, or making a point, and someone suddenly starts talking right over you? They don't even acknowledge that you were speaking. They just raise their volume, shift the focus of the room, and hijack the conversation. You probably stopped talking. Your voice trailed off. You looked down at your drink or pulled out your phone to pretend you weren't embarrassed. This is the presence test. In the animal kingdom, dominant animals take up physical space. In human social dynamics, people take up auditory space. When someone talks over you, they are testing the weight of your presence. They are asking the room, who is more important to listen to right now, me or them? If you quietly fade into the background when interrupted, you give them the remote control to your presence. You teach them, and everyone else watching, that your words don't have to be respected. You show them that you don't believe what you have to say is valuable enough to fight for. 5. The unprovoked withdrawal. The emotional control test. This is the most manipulative test of them all. Everything is going perfectly fine. You had a great time together. The conversation was flowing. The connection felt secure. And then, suddenly, they pull back. The texts get incredibly short. The warmth disappears from their voice. They give you the cold shoulder. But when you ask if everything is okay, they just say, "I'm fine," in a tone that clearly means they are not. This is the emotional control test. They are abruptly starving you of validation to see how dependent you are on their approval. They are waiting to see if you will panic. Will you double text? Will you send a paragraph apologizing for something you didn't even do? Will you start chasing them, desperately trying to restore the warmth that they artificially removed? This is what changes everything. The moment you start chasing someone who is intentionally pulling away, you hand over your emotional center of gravity. You tell them that your mood, your anxiety, and your peace of mind are entirely dictated by their behavior. You prove to them that they can control you simply by doing nothing. 6. The boundary push, the just this once test. Let's say you actually put your foot down. You realize what's happening, and you set a boundary. You tell your boss, "I don't check emails after 7 p.m." Or you tell a friend, "I can't lend you any more money." You feel proud of yourself. You finally stood up. But within 48 hours, they will test that exact boundary. Your boss will text you at 8 p.m. saying, "I know you said you're offline, but this is a super quick emergency. Can you just look at this one file?" Your friend will say, "I know what you said about money, but I am in a really tight spot. Just this once?" This is the ultimate test. Setting a boundary is easy. Defending it is where the truth is revealed. They are testing your conviction. They are betting that your boundary is just a suggestion, born out of temporary frustration, rather than a solid wall built on self-respect. If you cave just this once, you haven't just broken your own rule. You have taught them that your boundaries are negotiable if they push just a little bit harder. You've taught them that your no actually means, "Convince me." 7. The reality of the tests. Here is the hard, unvarnished truth about human dynamics. You are constantly, continuously training people how to treat you. Every disguised insult you laugh off, every late arrival you excuse, every interruption you accept, and every silent retreat you chase, it is all data. You are writing the instruction manual on how people are allowed to handle you, and you are handing it out for free. But here is a psychological twist that most people never realize. Sometimes, people aren't testing you to break you. Sometimes, they are testing you to see if you are strong enough to trust. Deep down, People do not feel safe around individuals who have no backbone. If you can be easily manipulated, pushed around, and disrespected by them, it means you can be easily manipulated by the rest of the world. And subconsciously, nobody wants to rely on someone who won't even stand up for themselves. When you pass these tests, when you look someone dead in the eye and say, "I don't find that funny," when you pack up and leave after they make you wait for 20 minutes, when you let them sit in their own silence instead of chasing them, you don't just earn their respect. You establish your own reality. You create a sudden, undeniable shift in the dynamic. They realize instantly that the old tactics won't work on you. They realize they are dealing with someone who is anchored. The testing never truly stops. It is a fundamental part of the human experience. But the beautiful thing is, you don't have to study for it. You don't have to be paranoid or aggressive. You just have to stop moving out of your own way to make room for other people's disrespect. You just have to decide, once and for all, that your self-respect is no longer on the negotiation table. If this resonated with you, if you've recognized some of these patterns in your own life, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm to share this with someone who probably needs to hear it today. Subscribe if you want to keep exploring the hidden psychology behind everyday behavior, and let me know in the comments. Which of these tests have you noticed people running on you lately? Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.